Hey, good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? How are you guys doing, man? This is Gregory Wiles coming live from Houston, Texas, with this inspirational morning talk. For first-time listeners, I'm on at 8:45 a.m. Central Time on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So happy Monday to everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. Had a good weekend. Mr. Osmond Smith, good morning. How are you doing today? How are you doing? Hope you had a great weekend. Yes, guys, my goal is just to give you something inspirational to start out the day with, because we're going to come face so much negativity throughout the day. So just to give you something a little positive to start out the day with. So what I want to talk about today, I'm big on talking about the laws and following God laws. I encourage people to do the year-end fast to get things started out for this year, get realigned with God for this year and everything. So I just want to show people that's why your resolutions don't work. Some people by now they don't give up on the New Year's resolutions. And that's why I want to show you how to get a consistency in your life, how to get a consistency and what can really give you the consistency, right? So today I want to look at the angel of the Lord. How these angels of the Lord work, right? The angels of the Lord. And if you follow the laws, how they can be right there to protect you and give you those breakthroughs you're looking for, right? So first scripture I want to look at here. It said, for the angel of the Lord is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fear him. For the angel of the Lord is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fear him, right? All who fear him, meaning fear God, who follow his laws. The angel of the Lord is a guard. He can guard. Because remember in Psalms 91, 11 and 12, he said, for he will order his angels to protect you wherever you go. They will hold you up with their hands so you won't even hurt your foot on a stone. This is the NLT translation, right? So he's saying this is a guard. Then he's saying in Psalms 91, saying he's going to order his angels to protect you wherever you go. They will hold you up in their hands so you wouldn't even hurt your foot against a stone. Right? In Hebrews 1:14, it said, are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation? Are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation? Ministering means serving spirits. So the angels are here to serve us. But how do we get them to serve us? Good morning, Jillian. Good morning. How do we get them to serve us? We got to follow the laws, right? So let's look at two stories, two familiar stories we're familiar with in the Bible, and see how these angels went to work with people who follow these laws and who bring to life these scriptures right here. For the angel of the Lord is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fears him. Psalms 91, 11 and 12 saying, this was Psalms 34:7. Said, for the angel of the Lord is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fears him. Psalms 91, 11 and 12 said, for he, that's God, will order his angels to protect you wherever you go. They will hold you up in their hands so you wouldn't even hurt your foot on a stone. And Hebrews 1:14 saying, are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit the salvation? So let's see how these scriptures here come to life in some stories in the Bible. Because let's go, God do. He got these stories where we read and say, oh, that's a nice story. Is these laws you have embedded in them trying to show you truth these people's lives? When they follow this law or don't follow these laws, what's the outcome? That's what these stories don't just look at them. Oh, it's nice stories. Look at what is the nuggets in there. What is the revelation in these stories, right? So let's look at two stories that you're familiar with. Let's look at Daniel 3:16 through 30. Daniel 3:16 through 30, right? Remember these guys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? You remember them guys, those Hebrew guys, and this king was raising them to work in the palace along with Daniel and some other guys. But long story short, the king had a decree that they must follow the gods, his gods, right? You can read the story. I can just chop it up a little bit. The king had a decree that everyone must follow his gods, right? Which was not the God of Abraham, Isaac, not the God that um we talking about. So them guys said, no, we can't do that. We can't follow your gods. So the king tell them, okay, long story short, if you don't follow, all who don't follow the gods, I'm gonna throw you in that furnace. The furnace, and I'm gonna kill you if you're not going to follow my gods, right? So I can pick it up from Daniel 3:16 through 30. Daniel 3:16 through 30 we can read. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty hands. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your God or worship the image of gold you have set up. So these guys saying, we do not need to defend ourselves against you. Let me read that again. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to the king. This after he tell them they got to follow the gods or he's going to throw them into the furnace. Them guys replied to him, we do not need to defend ourselves before you. We do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it. He said the God we serve will be able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hands. But if he does not, so them guys are saying, just what I'm telling people, pray what's with to line you with God's will. If God's will is for them to die in the furnace, so be it. They don't accept that. They say, but if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. Them guys saying, even if God don't save us from your hands, maybe that's his will, but we are not going to serve your gods of no gold and no image you set up. Because why? These guys know the law. They know this law. Exodus 34:14. Exodus 34:14 said, you must worship no other God, for the Lord, whose very name is jealous, is a God who is jealous about his relationship with you. So them guys know the law. And them guys know if they follow this law, all of these other laws will read, but the angels will protect you and all of that. They guys know that's the result if I follow this one law here. If I follow this one law, do not serve no other God, I got a bunch of protection coming my way. And I don't need to be scared of nobody or nothing. Because once I follow in the law is going to run its course, whether it's negative or positive. If you're breaking the law, you get a negative consequence. If you're following it, you get a positive consequence. So them guys like, oh, king, I don't have no time with you. These guys could be bold in front of the king. Tell the king, we don't have them to defend ourselves. You imagine you talking to the king like that? You imagine you're talking to the king? King, I don't need to defend myself in this matter. The God I serve is going to take care of that. What? How furious they're going to make the king, right? And exactly what it did. So let's go on in 19 now. It said, then Nebuchadnezzar was furious. You must get furious. Who's these two little Hebrew boys that telling you, but they do not need to defend themselves against you? And I'm the king? And you talking to me like that? You got to be crazy. Then Nebuchadnezzar was furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and his attitude towards them changed. He ordered a furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual. He said, my y'all, these little skinny guys telling me, well, what? Man, I'm going to burn you before your body even... I can turn up this fire 7 times hotter for your sake. 7 times hotter, right? He ordered a furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual and commanded some of the strongest soldiers in his army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. He said, get rid of these guys who they think they're talking to. I'm the king. They're going to worship my image of gold and all these images I set up. They're going to worship this. If not, that's the result, is death. Them guys was like, sure, let's do it. Right? He ordered the strongest soldiers in the army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. So these men, wearing their robes, trousers, turbans, and other clothes were bound and thrown into the blazing furnace. So these guys got on all the robes, to tie up the head and all the turban and everything. And they got on all of this cloth in simple term, right? And they tied them up and threw them into the fire. All right. So these men wearing their robes, trousers, turbans, and other clothes were bound and thrown into the blazing furnace. The king commands was so urgent and the furnace so hot that the flames of the fire killed the soldiers who took Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these three men, firmly tied, fell into the blazing furnace. So this fire is so hot that the heat killed the soldiers who was going to throw these guys in the fire. The heat alone, right? They didn't actually get into the fire, right? The king's command was so urgent and the furnace so hot that the flames of the fire, just the flames killed the soldiers who took them. The flames killed the soldiers. That's how hot this fire is, right? All right. And them guys, they throw them into the furnace. King Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, weren't there three men that we tied up and threw into the fire? He's like, we didn't try three men into the fire. They replied, certainly, your majesty, yes, we threw three men into the fire. So that was the problem, king. He said, look, see four men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed. And the fourth looks like the Son of God, the Son of the gods. He said, guys, we threw three men in the fire, tied up, they're bound up. We tied their hand, the foot together and throw them in there. And now I see four people in there. What am I dreaming? There's a fourth person in there that looked like the Son of the gods. What's going on here? Then Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire. This flames were so hot it burned the soldiers. These men was tied up, throwing with the turban, the trousers, the pants, the shirt, the everything. And they unbound and a fourth person walking around in there with them. You see what God did. God said, I don't really do this, but I'm going to give you a peek into the spiritual realm and see who you're messing with. You're messing with my people who did not break my law. So I'm going to show you what go on in the spiritual realm, that I got my people that I can send that's more powerful than them images and those stuff that you serve in. I can show you my power right now when people follow my law. When people follow my law, I can give you a little peek, Mr. King, into the spiritual realm and show that you and your idol gods is no match for me. Right? So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire, and the satraps, prefects, governors, and royal advisors crowded around them. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor a hair on their head was burned. Their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on these men. What are you telling me? These men was bound and thrown into a fire. They didn't even come out smelling like smoke, no hair on the head burned. The clothes didn't even get scorched. What are we talking about here? This is the fire these men was throwing. The flames killed these soldiers who were going to throw them in. These men went into the fire and didn't even come out smelling like smoke. All right, let's go on. Let's go on. So these men, then Nebuchadnezzar said, praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel. Who has sent his angel and rescued his servant. Now God turned to tell him, that's my angel in there. And what the scripture said, for he will order his angels to protect you wherever you go. Psalms 91, 11 and 12. He will send his angels to protect you wherever you go. They will hold you up with their hands so you won't even hurt your foot against a stone. Right? And Psalms 34, 7 saying, for the angel of the Lord is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fear him, God, who follow his laws. That's what the fear means. He's a guard. And once you follow the laws, he got an obligation to protect you. He got an obligation. He followed this law here, Exodus 34:14, you must not worship other gods, for the Lord, whose very name is jealous, is a God who's jealous about your relationship with you. He said, don't follow no other gods. You follow me, and I'm going to protect you. All of these protection you got. See, these guys stand up to the king and say, we ain't following your God. We don't care if you kill us. We don't care if you kill us. We're not. We know the right thing, and we're going to do the right thing. All right? So, and then he said, praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command and were willing to give up their lives rather than to serve or worship any god except their own God. So the king saying, these guys defy my commands. They defy the king's commands and were willing to give up their lives. They were willing to give up their lives rather than to serve or worship any other god except their own God. Oh, my, man. When I read these things here, it just, I get so excited. I get so excited. I want to be as bold as these guys. I want to be as bold as these guys, man. I want to be as bold as these guys. That's why I'm trying to follow these laws so I can be as bold as these guys, knowing that these scriptures here is not just words. And if I follow them, God got obligation to protect me. God, that's what his words say, right? So therefore I decree, so hear what he's saying, no, therefore I decree that the people of any nation or language who say anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be cut into pieces, and their houses be burned into piles of rubble, for no other God can save them in this way. Now he realizing, by my little stone God and my gold God and the image of me can't save none. They never save me in this way. So anybody who talk bad against these guys, God, I can kill you. God, this God show his power. He showed how he could save his people. My gods that I got can't do that. Man, I tell people, the people who worship other gods, who do the voodoo or witchcraft, they know who is the real thing. Because if the name Jesus call among anything they're doing is problems. So why you serving something else and you know who the real thing is? You remember the last one we did about the storm in the boat? When the guys was afraid of the storm, and then they realized that the very thing they're afraid of, Jesus got the power over. They're afraid of the storm, and he said, peace, be still, and the storm stopped. And they said, so who's this man? Who is this man? That he could order the waves and the wind to stop. So the very thing we were scared of, this man got power over, right? And how much times we as Christians compromise our standards because we're afraid of the outcome. How much times we compromise our standards and forsake our God because we're afraid of the outcome. We didn't trust that if we stand up, we protect. Remember the movie God's Not Dead? That's what the whole movie was based on. This teacher, this professor, there's the first class he used to do, make these students write God is dead, because he was mad with God, because he was praying to God to save his mother. I think she died. I know she was sick or what, I can't remember. But he make all the students write God is dead the first day of class. And a lot of Christians compromise because saying we just need to write it because we need to pass the class. You know, I spend so much money, I don't want to fail, and this man got the power to fail me if I don't write God is dead. I ain't really mean it, but I'm gonna write it. You wrote that? How you mean you don't mean it? Shadrach, and Abednego could say, I didn't really mean it. I can just go and worship his gods. But you know, when I go back to my room, I can worship the real God. No, he said, no, you don't do that. You don't come and worship this God and then come back and worship me. A lot of Christians doing that. They in church praising him, and then as soon as they finish, they're gone and get a palm read. They're gone to the sick. They're gone to the obeah to get quick work, and they're still in church. He's saying, no. You don't serve no other God but me. Follow my laws, and I got the obligation to protect you. My word got the obligation to protect you, right? And then we can look at quickly, since I done lay the foundation. Same thing with Daniel. Remember the story with Daniel, right? Same thing with Daniel. They want Daniel to follow these other gods, and Daniel said, no, can't do. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Right? So Daniel, we can just read 6:19 through 22 quickly. At the first sight of dawn, as he threw Daniel in the lion's den. You remember? I ain't go through it. You could read it. Same scenario. Daniel said, I'm not following your gods. I can't bow down and pray to no other gods but my God. So he said, okay, I can throw you in the lion's den, buddy. I can let the lion feed on you for tonight. All right? So Daniel said, you could throw me in the snake pit, the lion's den, whatever. I ain't following your God. I ain't going to do it. Because I know this law here. God said he's a jealous God. If I serve him alone, he can protect me. I ain't worried about you and your lion. All right, so let's quickly pick it up from there. At the first sight of dawn, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. When he came near the den, he called out to Daniel in an anguished voice, Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God whom you serve continually been able to rescue you from the lion? He was like, okay, Daniel, let me see if you're God, who you're talking about, and see if you're from these beasts that I got. I throw any little thing in there to tear it up. So let me come and make some fun of you now and see if your God saved you from these beasts that I got. Then Daniel answered, may the king live forever. My God sent his angel. You see again, man? You see again who God sent and who God said. For the angel of the Lord is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fears him, man. These guys hold up to the God and said, no, we ain't compromising you, God. And he sent his angel. My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouth of the lion. They have not hurt me because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done any wrong before you, your majesty. He said, it's not about you. If you find me guilty, king, I don't care if you find me guilty. God didn't find me guilty. He's the one I'm more worried about finding me guilty of doing something. So all the stuff that we doing in the dark, thinking man ain't seeing us, but God seen us. So these guys get it. He said, I don't care about you, king. If you find me guilty of not, I'm more worried about if God find me guilty. And he did not find me guilty, right? Then they have not hurt me. My God sent his angel, shut the mouth of the lion. They have not hurt me because I was found innocent in his sight. That's the sight you should be concerned about. Nor have I ever done anything wrong before you. I ain't do nothing wrong, so I don't have to scare your majesty. Because I'm more worried if God find me guilty. Or you can find me innocent and he found me guilty, and these laws don't work against me. So I'm more worried about if he finding me innocent. Man, look, I'm telling you, compromising your standards. I want to be as bold as these guys here. And even though if the outcome is that, I still saying, God, I gonna follow you to the end. I'm gonna follow you to the end. Even if the outcome you threaten me. But so do not get scared, guys. I know a lot of us, I compromised my standards before on things that I know was wrong, but I was afraid of the outcome. I repented for that, and as more as I get into the scriptures, I will never do that again. Compromise my standards because I'm afraid of the outcome. I'm going to trust him and trust his word. That's why I try to understand more of it so I can be bold and stand up and say, I don't care what's the outcome. I'm holding to what I know is true. I'm following his law. All right, guys, I know I went on a little long today, but I got to get through this point. I got to get over this point, how important it is. Once we follow his law, he got the obligation to protect us. His angels is going to protect us. These is not just scriptures here we read and it sound good. For he will order his angels to protect you wherever you go. They will hold you up in their hands so that you wouldn't hurt your foot against a stone. Psalm 91 verse 11 and 12. And we throw it out there and we sound like we good. No, these are real things. Then we throw the next one out. Psalms 34:7. For the angel of the Lord is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fears him. These are real things. If you practice them and follow this word, they're going to work in your life, Daniel's life, anybody's life. And that's where I'm trying to get to, guys. I ain't perfect there yet, but that's where I'm trying to get to. And I hope you join me on the journey and see this word is real. It's not just something in a book and nice stories. It's real stuff. And if we get the revelation from them, we're going to get all those resolutions and we can be on the right track, guys. Have a great, great day. Leticia Phillips, good morning. How are you? Mr. Ainsworth McCann, good morning. How are you doing? How are you doing? How's the art gallery going? All right, guys. We talk to you guys later. Goodbye.